request for a copy of that?
I'm just going to put it on YouTube.
Got it.
Okay, so when I do redirection, I'm just redirecting my output to some sort of text file. What if I use the pipe? What's the difference between pipe and redirect? I'm going to redirect it not to a text file. I'm going to pipe it into another process. So I'm going to send it to another command, not to a file or to my display. Redirect will send it to your display or a file. Pipe will send it to another process. So it'll become the input for another process. So if I did this alone, it shows me all of these user accounts. If I say cut the delimiter, because it's columns, this is just a bunch of columns. The delimiter is a semicolon. That's the thing that separates my columns. I want field 1. This would work too. So basically, I'm going to say take cat and only show me field 1. Or I could say field 1 and 2. Or 1 and 3. So what am I doing with this? I'm just showing certain columns. So I'm using the pipe to filter out unwanted text. Let's say I want to look at a user account's name, and I want to look at what their home folder is. So what column is that? This is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I want to see columns 1 and 6. So the cut command basically cuts out those columns and displays only those 2 columns. Cut, what's our delimiter, a colon, and fields 1 and 6. You know, and it really doesn't do any formatting for you. It just shows those 2 fields. If we wanted to do formatting, we could do something like this. There's a command called awk. It's a programming language. It's a little bit archaic, but it's very powerful. So what I'm going to do is anything in between the single quotes is my code. So I need to pass awk the delimiter. In this case, the thing that separates the fields is a colon. So I want to I'm forgetting something. Print column 1 Sorry, I forgot the end quote. I'm forgetting how to do this. Give me 1 second. I just can't remember the syntax of awk. I don't see what I'm doing wrong.
This might sound stupid, but does the money at the beginning make a difference?
Yes, it does. It needs to be there. Okay, so guys, here's what I was doing wrong. I was enclosing it in a. That's still not right. I was enclosing it in a quote. Okay, I'm gonna show the command. I'll bring it up some. It's hard to do because of the. Okay, so awk does the same thing as cut, but allows me to do some formatting. Guys, I was putting this in the quote, and I needed to remove it. So basically, awk will automatically assign column numbers. So I'm telling awk the delimiter or the field separator is a colon. So awk has a command called print. So I printed a friendly name, username, then a space, then I said column 1. So right there's column 1. Then I said space, home directory, space, and then column 6. Here's the home directory, column 6. So I can do the same thing with awk, but with more formatting, the same as cut. So it does, it's a very powerful language, but a lot of people don't really use it that much anymore. Now I want to show you an example of, I'm going to wait till you're done typing. I have to put these quotes around the text. And if you don't put a space, it won't put a space.
How does this awk command know that the 1 and the 6 are columns?
Because it's seeing the field separators that I'm supplying it. So each column, I'm going to...
Because in the previous one you did...
cat, Etsy, password. So when I look at this, when I put that semicolon for this command, or a colon rather, it knows that's the column separator. So the first column, it's going to automatically assign it to $1. The second column will be assigned to $2. The third, fourth, in this case fifth is blank, then 6th.
The other one, you specified field.
Well, I am doing it, this is the same thing, but it automatically assigns it to a variable called $1, $6. So whatever you're piping into it, it's going to assign those columns dynamically based on your separator. Okay, so I'm going to run this command, ps-aux. Now, it's really easy to see that this is a bunch of columns, right? But what's the field separator? What separates the fields? Well, one space here, multiple spaces here, there's no consistency. So how can I just want to know The user account name, PS-AUX, shows me it's like task manager, all my tasks that are running. I just want to see the user account name, the process ID, and the actual process name. That's the only thing I want to see. But if I try to say cut and say column 1, that will be easy. But if I say this delimiter is a space, it's going to make all these a bunch of different columns. So with Etsy password was really, even though it didn't look to us humans as a bunch of columns, it was a well-defined column separator of that colon. So what I can do is pipe it to translate, squeeze multiple occurrences of spaces into one space. That gives me a well-defined column delimiter. So if I hit the up arrow, I can see that every column is now separated by one space. Now, to humans, it doesn't look good, but to the system, it looks really good. Now it can define the columns. So column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So I want to see 1, 2, and 11. If I use cut, the delimiter is a space, fields 1, 2, and 11. There's the user account that ran it, the process ID, and the actual command. And if I used awk, I can make it a lot better looking. The field separator is a space. Guys, when you're using awk, I need to protect the awk variables from bash variables, so I have to enclose it in single quotes. Print. Let me pull up my history real quick. There's the two commands I ran. So the bottom one just makes it a lot prettier. So if you have to generate a report, guys, I use this all the time. When I get a test data bank from a publisher for a textbook, and I have to reformat it for D2L, you know, they'll have a lot of things where they'll have a question, colon, and a question number, and then the question, and then the answer, colon, and the answer number. And I'll use this because they all have a consistent format, but I needed to reformat it into something else. So I'll use this to pretty much reformat the entire document. You know, Notepad++, I could do find and replace, but then that gets too difficult. So you'll see this quite a bit, this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to show a command called ipv4. ipv4 shows my IP address. I could do, you know, it's really IP address. Give me 1 second. Okay, so it's IP address, dev, then the device number. So if I do this, no, it doesn't want that.
Abbreviations are making my head spin.
These aren't abbreviations. These are the commands. They're not abbreviations. Okay, IP address show ET80. So it just shows me that one network card. I'm just trying to limit what you're seeing. I have a bunch of interfaces. Some loopback interfaces, some bridge interfaces. This is my actual network card. How can I see my IPv4 address? Only the address and the subnet mask. I just want to see the address and subnet mask. So this will show me the address. What do I need to grep for? So is there any IPv4 in this line? This is the line we want to see. Okay, let's grep for INET. So that will show me all the INET lines. But it shows me too many. I don't want to see INET 6. So how do I not see INET 6? From last week.
Isn't it like
V is the reverse. I want to see only INET lines. But in this case, INET, that included INET 6. So I'm saying, show me only INET lines that filtered everything out except for the INET lines. Then I'm saying, don't show me any INET 6 lines. So it only shows me that one line. What do I need to do now just to see the IP address? Do we have a consistency between columns? Can I define a well-defined delimiter? In this case, it looks like space. Everything is separated by space. This is my internet address. This is my broadcast address. The only problem is this beginning might cause a problem. So how do we bring all the spaces together? Translate all spaces. Squeeze all the spaces into one space. So if I have 4 spaces in a row, squeeze them all together. Here's the line. So now I have clear columns.
translate space and then
No, translate, squeeze all these characters together. So if I have 4 spaces, squeeze them all together.
got it. What you're defining what's between. Okay.
So I'm trying to make a very consistent separator between columns. And what do we want? Cut, field. The delimiter is what now? Space, field, 3. Guys, it was field 3 because it began with a space. So field 1 is not being viewed here. So this just showed me my IP address and so I could essentially add this to a startup file. So every time I boot up, it just shows me my IP address and subnet mask. So if I need it, I know what IP I'm at. you know, you just have to, it takes a little bit of getting used to. You just have to kind of break it down. And over time, this kind of stuff just becomes second nature when you start typing. Okay, I'm going to do one more, or you're going to do one more. I want you to show me my default gateway. So if I do IP route, that'll show my routing table. My default gateway is this. So only show me my default gateway. Your IP route, then do whatever you have to do, you only show the gateway. 10.3.16.1.
You just want the number?
Yep. What line is unique in that line? What is unique in that? Will always be. What's unique? Yeah. Default. That's the only line that has default. So search for default. That will fill it for all other lines.
No, we got it correct.
For default.
No.
So if you grep for default, you'll get that one line.
Oh, let's see. You said you just want the number.
Okay, no more grepping. Right there, do a pipe again. Now you filtered out, guys, we're gonna use grep to filter out the rows. You use cut to filter out the columns. So once you get down to one row, you're not gonna grep anymore. At that point, you're gonna start cutting out columns, because you're down to that one line. So what column do we need? So we're going to pipe it to cut. The delimiter is a space, and I want field 3. What does that do? Lines beginning in the letter D. Why do I do this as opposed to this? I'm lazy. This is less typing. Honestly. There's no other reason. So you could, if you could do stuff like beginning with. What would this do? Yeah, but I think there's a space there or something. It's not ending the line oh. No, it's not ending the line properly, so you can't really do it. I mean, if I put inserts or something like that, it would work. But, you know, again, grep 4 lines beginning with D. Okay, what if I did this? List tilde. Let's do student. That'll be better. I only want to see the directories. So if you take this line, I only want to see directories. Pipe it to what? Yeah, same thing. Look, that first character is always going to be what type of file it is. So a dash is a file, a D is a directory. So grep4, that will show me all my directories. So guys, this is var my log file. Whenever something happens in my system, it goes to the cat for our messages. Sorry. I only want to see the last 10 lines. What was that command? We did that. Yeah, tell. What if I only want to see the first 10 lines? How many words are in that? I'm going back over previous stuff. How many words are in that? No, in what was displayed.
Oh. You could do it.
Okay, good. Pipe it to W. WC words. So I took the output of my head, piped it to what does WC stand for? Word count. And said display only words. What if I wanted to, what will this do? Well, I know it's 10 lines because head by default gives you 10 lines.
First plus one.
And what does this do?
Third character. Oh.
So you can do this, you know, this pipe for a lot of things. Okay.
So when you're trying to format the output and stuff, there's really no way to kind of.
Well, you could do a lot of formatting with awk. I mean, there's some amazing things you can do with awk, but
You probably have to look at the output first and then get.
yeah. You have to know what you're receiving.
Okay.
You know, and like, does anyone ever heard of the term screen scraper? Okay, you know when you see people with the email address on a website, they do this. They'll do something like this. they don't put their email address really simply. Why? Because it would be too easy for someone to do a curl and start looking for that @ symbol. So then people started doing this, in their email addresses. Put one symbol. It would be too easy to do data mining and start grabbing people's email addresses with cut and grep and stuff like that. So they try to break up the format so it doesn't look like an email address. So that's what these script kiddies are doing. They're going through using these simple command line stuff, running scripts against websites. That's all it's doing is pulling the website code, catting for certain things. Like a lot of websites who offer pictures, when you do a search and you get to a website and it's just a something dot info file page. Well, they're just all it's doing is just grabbing a bunch of pictures from other websites, and what they're doing is just using these type of commands to go out, find any file ending in PNG, and then pulling that file and then post it on their site. So this kind of stuff is used quite a bit, guys, so you kind of need to get used to it. One last thing. We talked about redirect and we talked about pipe. So here's a command, cat etsy password. And if I did this, what would it do? Right. But what if I did
It's going to display the output, but redirect it also to the file.
right, the command T not only will it redirect it to a text file, but it will also display it on your screen at the same time. So this will do both. Okay, so guys, we're going to do our first break right now. Now listen, wake up, do whatever you need to do, because if you dislike this, you're really going to dislike the text editor. So what we're going to do next is VI. It's a text editor. I can't count on a graphic text editor like this, because you might not have graphics. So I need to show you a command line text editor. So take a break, wake up, walk around, and you've got to get your hands on the keyboard. If you don't, you're not going to learn this. You didn't learn Windows 10 that way. Just go to a class for one day a week and then hope you absorb it.
Yeah, he's using OBS. I guess he's going to put it to his email. He's right, though. You really got to practice this at home. Although I do recommend VirtualBox over Hyper-V. It's a lot more efficient.
Installations, you can copy and paste from Windows itself.
I'm not sure about that.
Because right now, what we're doing on my Ipv, if I want to save that on a text file and copy it to USB, I just can't.
I'm sure there's a way around that.
I'm sure there is, it's much work.
Shade. That's going.
It's great.
We finally got around to installing CentOS.
Oh,
Yeah.
How do you go for it?
It's good. I'm just practicing what we're doing right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. say what chapter this was in the book?
We're currently in chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or no. We went through it.
But it was in OS 5.
With the first and the second.
Of the second book, yes.
Linux, the one we're using, is equivalent to OS 7, right?
Yeah, I cannot stress how much I advocate for VirtualBox instead of Hyper-V. I mean, for starters, you need to have very specific hardware for Hyper-V, which I have. I have the hardware for it.
You gotta look all that stuff up first to make sure it's good.
Well, then you have to do some trickery in your BIOS, which again, it's not complicated. I know how to get into my BIOS and enable virtualization. But it goes into conflict with other things I use on my PC, so it's like, forget all this. VirtualBox, it just, there you go.
It just sits right on title for that, because the Hyper-V is going to be your hypervised.
But we're used to perfect stuff.
I mean, virtualization is not just for Hyper-V. It enables all the cores of your CPU for other applications, and I use other applications that use more cores, so I already have virtualization on, but again, I can't.
Yeah. It's better than it is.
VirtualBox all the way. I tried going Hyper-V first. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, but I talked to I have a friend that's a hacker. He's like, no, man, you don't want that. That's garbage.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. VirtualBox is just an application, not just virtualized. It's kind of like VMware.
Oh, it is, yes.
It's pretty weak.
And you're not restricted in any way. He told me it's just as good, better actually. He said it's better than Hyper-V.
Oh, yeah.
It has like 3.
Plus you can run on different platforms too. Like if you have Mac, you can run VirtualBox on that. And basically it's got to bring in the same files, so it's pretty cool.
I was trying to understand the CentOS. From what he told us, it's exactly like Red Hat. Just, you know, they just take off the labeling and all that, but it makes me think, like, in our first week, he was saying GPO, you got a sharing thing. The only difference is they are the same in terms of Linux build and all that. It's the application software that they use. That's what they protect and all that. So basically, CentOS just strips that part because obviously they want you to pay for that.
They want the enterprise stuff.
No, but they stick true to their word that the Linux, of course, is open, but the software they develop, it's like paying for Windows 10, or let's say it's free, everyone, but you got to pay for MS Word, or the whole Office suite. But that's kind of what that's like.
I haven't really say with the applications on it, it's just download stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm just using it for practice. Oh, and I would turn the mouse from PS2 to touchpad. Otherwise, you're gonna have to always lock in, and you gotta do Control right key. It's very annoying because I want to be able to go back and forth, like to read my code. Like, okay, how do I do this? And if you click in the VirtualBox, it locks you into it.
You figure out how to do it seamless, right? That's how you do it, so it's seamless, so you can go back.
Yeah. You just gotta make a touchpad. Which no, you're still using the mouse, but you're not locked in. That's the point. Yeah.
Very efficient. No. It's part of the.
I think if you just understand what commands do what and the directories, I think that's it. You'll nail this. That's the hurdle.
That's all technology. They're still being used.
That's the only class you take in this semester?
Like this one?
Network Plus and Security Plus.
The regular ones, history, or the rock ones?
Yeah, I haven't forgotten about your question about the test. Just, I'm gonna, toward the end, I'll talk about it.
Do you volunteer for getting to put in questions for the CompTIA Linux Plus?
Yeah, but I haven't accepted it in years, and they stopped asking.
Okay.
You know, they have, they like find people in the industry, and they normally send you beta tests, and you get feedback on the questions, and you can pose new questions.
I've heard from some professors at this university, that they have a, they single-handedly have some input on like a few questions.
For the Linux Plus test?
No, not Linux, but just
Oh.
other CompTIA ones. That's pretty cool.
They normally, it's just normally just like a beta that you're allowed to participate in. The thing is, I'm not going to take any more CompTIA tests because my tests are grandfathered. I have them for life. I don't want to take another one that's going to expire in 3 years. Because when I took the CompTIA test, it was for life. Then CompTIA said, no, they're going to expire. And then we created a class action lawsuit, and it never went to court. CompTIA backed out and says anyone who had the old test are grandfathered for life. It only applies to new people.
All the new forms of Linux.
Well, no, Linux is still for life, but for the A Plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus, they're only good for 3 years now.
Well, those make sense because that's always changing. Whereas Linux, it's kind of like riding a bike, I imagine, right? Once you learn it.
Well, yeah, but I think if the Network Plus, if you were Network Plus at one point in time and you're still in the industry, you still know Network Plus. I don't think you need to keep taking it. It's a scam.
Those are like $250 or more every time.
Yeah, I mean,
Per attempt.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Doesn't matter if you pass or fail, it's per attempt.
you know, and then they came up with a system like if you're an educator and you prove that you were teaching that class, they'll give you education points, and at that point, if you have enough points, you get renewed without having to take the test again.
Well, yeah, or if you go to
A class,
seminars or other conventions.
not a convention. It'd have to be like a CompTIA class at a CompTIA academy.
Those are pricey too.
Yeah, well, no, we are a CompTIA academy.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, yes, if you go to one of the private ones, then it's expensive.
I mean, just like any organization, they gotta get their money somehow to keep doing what they're doing. But I do understand the other side of the argument. There's a limit. It's ridiculous.
Is there, speaking of tests, are there, between the certifications, are there similarities between like the CompTIA, Epic, and things like that, or do you know? Or are those vastly different?
The Linux Professional Institute used to write CompTIA's test. Before they didn't. Then they wrote the test for CompTIA, and then CompTIA, when you took the CompTIA test, it also gave you the Linux Professional Institute certification at the same time. But just recently, they went back to writing their own test. In fact, the guy who started Linux Professional Institute, when I wanted to take my Red Hat test, the guy who was giving the test was the guy who started LPI. And after that, he sold it. I had taken my Linux LPI test in the process of him selling it to like Pearson. So I never actually got my certification. The testing center had proof that I did it, but there was no one I could contact to get the actual certification. So I'm kind of against LPI because of that. But the LPI test, no one ever looks for it.
Oh, really? Okay. So they're pretty much just like
CompTIA for basic, but if you want to go a real Linux certification, you go with the Red Hat.
Okay. There shouldn't be too much conflict.
Okay, guys, I want to show you something while we're waiting for these other guys to get back. Look, what does this do? I cat 2 files. The password file contains all my user accounts. Etsy group contains all my group accounts. Most distributions, when you create a user account, it automatically creates a group for that user at the same time with the same name. So looking at these 2 files, it's going to display Etsy password first, then it's going to display Etsy group. If I wanted to, I could pipe that to sort and sort them together. So it's all alphabetical. So, like, here's a user account, here's my group account, and here's my user account. Here's my group account, here's my user account. So if you need to, you want to get both your groups and users together, you can just pipe it to sort. Sort will also allow me to sort certain columns. See this key field? Guys, I don't know why they're not consistent. In cut, what does the dash D mean? That's the delimiter. In off, what was the delimiter? F. Now in sort, the delimiter is, it's just the F in cut means field. So you just have to know each command. There's no sort of consistency. So, again, cat will display these two files. I could pipe it to sort if I wanted to sort it alphabetically. I could do by, let me see if this will work, field 3. Oh, it's not getting the delimiter. But in any case, it's, I could pipe something to sort and alphabetize it if I'm merging two files together. Okay, so guys, we're going to go into a program called VI. Guys, who am I signed in as?
Ruth.
And I'm in what directory? My home directory. If you do CD alone, it will take you here. And we're going to have this file right here called anaconda hyphen kickstart. We have this command called VI. If you install Ubuntu, you're going to use VI, you use the VI, the old VI. Which, when this was originally written, the VI didn't understand the keyboard over here. It didn't have these number keys. And it didn't have the arrow key. So if you wanted to go up or down, rather, you'd have to press JLM. It was this weird archaic thing. But they came out with something called VI Improved. And it's actually VIM. If you install VIM on an Ubuntu box, you launch it by typing VI. If you don't install VIM on an Ubuntu box and you run VI, you run the old version of VI. So this comes a replacement for this once you've installed it. In a Red Hat box, when you run VI, you actually run VIM. They don't even bother putting the old VI there anymore. So generally, I'm going to be talking about VIM, which is VI Improved, not VI, because this is just really outdated. I don't know why Ubuntu boxes still put it on there. Every time you press an arrow key, you'll get like a Control D or something like that, some weird character. So you need to be aware, if you're getting weird things happening when you press a num lock or something like that, you're using VI. Just install VIM and it'll automatically replace VI. It's called an alternative. There's the command called alternative. So when you configure alternative, you say, when I run VI, run this alternative program called VIM. So what we're going to do is actually use VIM. So I'm going to type VI anaconda hyphen kickstart.cfg. And this is a text editor. A lot of people use this text editor to program. It does a lot of things normal text editors don't do. I don't need any graphic interface. I can do this from a remote shell with no problems. And it's extremely powerful. because it's difficult to use. So when I go into VI, the other thing is they don't have a consistent naming thing. Some books will call this normal mode. This book calls it command mode. So right now if I type a character, it's going to run a command. It's not going to display that character. So if I type a YY, nothing shows up on my screen. What I did was I just copied that line. So YY means yank. So I just yanked that line, copy that line. If I go down here and I hit a Shift P, what did it do? Above. So I'm going to go down to the keyboard layout. And I'm going to do a lowercase p now. Below. So YY did a copy line. What did uppercase P do? Paste above. Lower. Paste below. I'm going to open up a browser real quick. VI sheet. Sometimes, guys, when you go to a bookstore, at the counter, they'll have a bookmark with all the VI cheat sheets. There's hundreds of them. This is kind of here's all the commands. The arrow keys is H, J, K, L. You know, so you can see how it can get really crazy quickly. I'm going to go back to this one. This is a pretty condensed one. Okay, so if you're using VI and you want to move right, it's H, down J, K, L. What if I did this? I'm here. I'm hitting a lowercase w. What did that do? Took me to the next word. So if I'm here and I hit www, it just keeps moving me over. Okay. What does Shift W do? Kind of doing the same thing. What does, I'm right here, a lowercase b do? Yeah, it goes to the beginning of the next word, or the word you're on. What does $sign do? End of the line. Okay. A lot of these guys, I never use a majority of these. Here's what I use all the time. If you can remember these and these, you'll be good. No, I don't want to say just that. You've got to learn the cut and paste as well. But So
So,
this is cut and paste, right? I'm going to go here and say, on this line right here, it says use graphical installation. I'm going to hit DD. That cut the line. What is? You want me to come back there?
oh no, I just want to know what the sheet you were looking at is nice.
Okay, there is a whole bunch of them. So DD is not delete, it's cut. What does cut mean? Puts it in memory. So if I go down to the language line, I don't care what you do to this file. You can mess this file up all you want. Shift P will paste that line above. So this isn't just delete, it's cut. Puts it in memory so you can paste it elsewhere. Right now, I've never left command mode. You know, no characters that I typed actually were displayed in my document, were not part of my document. So if I want to actually edit the document, I need to go in insert mode. Guys, I'm on the G. I'm on the D. I'm going to hit a lowercase I. Where did I start typing? Before the current character. Guys, now I'm no longer in command mode. I'm in insert mode. If I want to get out of insert mode and go back to command mode, I'm pressing escape. Guys, I'm using the terms that they use. Other books might call this normal mode. And command mode is something different. So I'm just using the terms they're using. Now I'm going to type a shift I. Where does it put me in insert mode?
The beginning of the line.
At the beginning of the line. So lowercase I puts me in insert mode before my current character. Uppercase I puts me in insert mode at the beginning of my current line. Guys, I'm on this O. Now I'm going to go in a lowercase a and start typing. So what did A do after the current character? So an uppercase, a lowercase I, insert mode, before the current character. Uppercase I, insert mode, beginning of line. What did lowercase a do? Insert mode, after the current character. And what do you think uppercase mode does?
After the line.
At the end of the line. So I'm going to go press escape to get out of insert mode. So if I'm on this line and I hit Shift A, it puts me in insert mode at the end of the line. Guys, you can't see this right now, but I can generally edit a document a lot quicker in VI because I have that ability to jump around that I don't have in other forms. If you can remember this stuff, these are the things I do 99% of the time. So that weird jump before the end of character, and that, I don't really do that just for navigation. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna have you exit as well. Just hit colon Q, bang, to get out of this file. That puts me in extended command mode, according to this book. So when I hit a colon, it brings me to the bottom and allows me to type a command. So Q bang means quit without saving. Force quit. Okay, I'm going to do vi my script .sh. So I'm going to use this to edit a file. It doesn't exist. Q, colon Q, bang. Go back. That's what we call it, bang. Just escape. Okay, so colon. Okay, that worked. So colon, Q, bang. Enter.
So this next one that you're asking us to open with shell.
I'm asking you to open a new file. It has an extension sh.
It has nothing to do with shell, or?
It is a script. It's a shell script, but it doesn't have to be shell. I'll get into that. When I see sh, I know it's a script. Back in the day, it meant it was going to be a shell script, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. In this case, it's not going to be. So I'm going to hit enter. That takes me to a blank file. Now, the first line of this file is how you're going to execute it. So if this was going to be a shell script, I would execute it with bin shell. If it's a Python script, I'm going to execute it with bin Python. If it's a bash script, I'm going to execute it with bin bash. So this is called shebang. The first line of a script is the shebang. It tells the script how to execute that. I launch this from bash, but someone else who comes, they might not launch it from bash. So I need to tell my script, you're going to execute these commands in bash. So how do I go in insert mode? Or just I? The I didn't display on the screen, it just put me in insert mode because I was in command mode. So now anything I type on the screen will actually edit that document. So hash bang bin bash. And I hit enter. That's my shebang. Anything starting with a hash mark is normally a comment, except for if it's hash bang, then it's your shebang. That tells the script how to execute it. So that's my shebang. I'm writing a bash script. If this was a Python, it would say bin Python. So cat etsy group cat etsy, and I'm going to spell this wrong, password.
So you said Python would be bin bash?
Bin Python. So the hash bang bin Python. If this was a corn shell script, it would be hash bang bin corn. or C shell script, hashbang, bin, CSH. So all I've done is edited a document. Created a new document. Ashley is enjoying this too much.
I'm cold.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying password.
Is wrong. I know that.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm going to type. I'm typing an error intentionally.
Oh, okay.
Okay. People write these scripts that could be thousands of lines long. So how do I get out of insert mode? Escape. Now, how do I get to command mode? Extended command mode. Colon, that brings me to the bottom. Q would quit, but I want to write quit. Has anyone in Cisco, how do you save your config? Colon RW.
Yeah.
Right. WR rather. Write run. So if you're writing a config file for a Cisco switch or router, you hit colon WR. Well, they're just using VI syntax because initially Cisco's routers were based on a Unix operating system. So you'll notice that a lot of things use VI syntax because VI has been around since the dawn of time. So basically all I'm doing is going to extended command mode, writing, and quitting. If I just did colon W, what would it do? It would just save it. Now, honestly, if you were in Notepad, what would you have to do? Go to File, Save, So this is going to save the file. And this will execute the script. So we just executed the script. Right there is my output, and that's my error. So I'm going to go back and edit it again. I'm going to go to the bottom. A lowercase o, insert mode below current line. So basically, it adds a blank line and puts you in insert mode below it. What do you think uppercase does? Above. It would create a blank line above your current line and put you in insert mode on that blank line. Guys, back in the day, I had one Linux Plus class, and there was this woman who was in my Microsoft classes. She was good. I was moving out of becoming admin into a full-time teaching position. So I had these two guys, Mike, the guy who created Ace IT Lab, replace me because I had two positions as a network admin. I had a Unix admin position and a Windows admin position. So I used Mike to replace me for the Windows, and this girl, Yvette, she was 22 years old. I don't know, she was young. When she was taking classes with me, she kept harassing me to do more Linux classes. Well, I couldn't get them filled, and I thought it would be inappropriate for me to have a private session with this 22-year-old girl. So I told her to get a bunch of students together and we'll do it like a computer club. And she got together and got a bunch of students and we did a computer club and we did Linux. Any lab that they wanted. We'd come in on a Saturday, 3 hours, once a month, and we did Linux. She left BC and got a job for World Fuel, making $150,000 a year because she knew Linux. Could do this kind of stuff. She left World Fuel and working for some wine and spirit distributor, $200,000 a year, because she knows how to do backups on Linux. That's all she does is backups on Linux. Just, because you go into an interview and they say, do you know Linux? They go, yes. And they put them in front of VI and they don't know. The fact that she could use VI, now this girl was good. She really worked and learned Linux. I'm telling you, this is what's going to put you above everyone else. If you can get in, they have one Linux box. That company can't fire you. You get in a job, you install a Linux box and get them dependent on that box, they're not going to find anyone to replace you. So, you want job security? That's a good way for job security. Okay.
Will you be expected to know both VI, old and new?
I would expect you to know how to install the new. Just install VIM.
Thank God.
Yeah, okay. The old one is just the navigation stuff. It's just weird. Okay, so I'm going to hit a lowercase o to put me in insert mode below my current character. Okay, so what does PWD do? So PWQ is going to generate an error message. Okay, I want to do this intentionally. Press escape, WQ. So I'm going to execute that script again by hitting the up arrows. No, I'm trying to generate. Just give me 1 second. If true. Okay. This will work. Guys, give me 1 second. Let me try. I'm trying to generate an error message with the line number. If I'm going to delete this line. How do I delete this line? Okay. How do I go and insert mode below my current line? If true, do. Let me test this first. Oh, okay. There's what I wanted, guys. Go back into VI, delete that line, and add that.
What is it about that actually causes it to print the line number?
You haven't gone into command mode yet. You mean what? You mean when you execute it?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It can't execute that line.
Oh, okay.
Look, it executed this line, but it generated an error. This command is if, then, not do. So it couldn't execute this command. That generated the line number. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. So guys, I'm giving you a malformed command, so it generates an error. Press escape, colon WQ. Now when I execute this command, it's going to say, wait, I couldn't understand line 5. It couldn't understand line 5 at all. So I'm going to... Now, if I was writing a script that had 600 lines,
Mhm.
and it says line 493, you had an error. I just want to wait till he's done typing.
What was the command to save the script again? It was
Get out of extend. Get out of insert mode. How do you get out? Good.
escape.
Good. Now, how do you get into extended command mode? You're going to run this command right here. Okay. What character gets you to the bottom?
Extended command. It's the bottom.
Listen. These questions you're asking, most people have. You're the only one brave enough to ask. How do you get to the bottom? What was that character? Colon. Okay, now WQ. To write quit.
Oh, jeez, I thought it was QW. I keep getting.
Okay. Well, it would quit and give you an error saying, wait, you have changes. Do you want to write them? So the order is important. So, guys, I'm going to go here. And if I do QW, it gives me an error. It doesn't work. You have to do WQ. Okay, I'm going to go back. So I got this error message saying line 5 had a problem. But let's just say it was 493. So I'm going to type 5, nothing displayed on my screen, uppercase G, for go. If you're writing something like an HTML document or something and you generate an error and there's some JavaScript code and it generates a line number error, you can jump to that line because most scripts will give you the line number that you couldn't understand that command. Go into your script, hit the number, 493, then the uppercase G, and it will take you to that line.
The last line of the file.
In this particular case, it's the last line of the file.
Mhm.
I'm trying to look for set line number. Set line. Okay. Guys, if you do this, set number. So right now, what mode am I in? Command. How do I get to extended command? Colon, set number. That shows your line numbers. Okay. What mode am I in now?
You're still in it.
I'm not. I'm back up here. So as soon as it runs its command, it takes me out of extended and back up here. When you run a command down here, it doesn't keep you in this extended command mode. Once you execute the mode, you always go back to normal command mode. So set no number. Turns that off. So go to extended command mode and turn off the numbers if you want. Okay. Think of this, try to think of this quickly. I want to go to insert mode at the end of the line. Capital A. If I want to go in insert mode above my current line, we have our 3 insert modes. Just think of this. If you can remember O, I, and A. actually like vowels.
I was like, wait.
A-I-O. Upper and lowercase. Lowercase a does what? Insert mode after my current character. Uppercase. Insert mode at the end of my line. I. Insert mode before my current character. Shift I. Insert mode before at the beginning of the line. Lowercase o. Insert mode below my current line, but puts a new blank line in there. Just add to like inserts a line below my current line. Uppercase O inserts a blank line above my current line, and it puts me in insert mode there. Okay, I'm going to go into extended command mode. %S cat with dog globally. %S substitute. The beginning /cat with /dog. Replace cat with dog. If I don't put the G, it'll only do it on my current line. If I put the G throughout the document, that's find and replace. That's find and replace. So %S / the thing you're looking to substitute. The next thing is what you're going to substitute it with. G means do it on all lines. Without the G, only on your current line. So that's find and replace. That is right here. Some VIs you don't have to put the %sign. Let me see if this VI will work without the %sign. So I'm going to do :S cat note. I'm going to replace dog with cat globally. Okay, so this cheat sheet is wrong because it doesn't do it globally. The flag that I put in at the end, I put a G flag. See, sometimes whoever wrote this document is young. I can tell you why. Because it says flags to replace all occurrences of a pattern. But G doesn't make sense. You're not going to remember G as that. Just think of globally. When you see G throughout the whole file. So this doesn't work properly if you don't put the % in front of it. So really, it should be %, replace dog with cat globally, all over. How many people have, when you're remotely connecting to a machine, you have one window. If you're in regular Windows or graphic environment, you can jump between windows, no problem. Well, every time I need to do something, let's say I forgot something, I'd have to exit this program and come back in. Go look for what I'm trying to look for, and then come back into it. But they have this nice feature. If I go into extended command mode and put a bang, list, home, student. Anything, if I put a :bang, it executes a shell command within VI. So I don't have to leave VI to run a command outside of VI. So right now I want to see what's in student's home folder. Let's say I need the name of a file or something. So instead of having to exit and come back in, because remember, I'm remoting in, I don't have the ability to switch windows. I only have one window. So this will execute a shell command outside of VI. So I can see what files I'm looking for, press enter, and I'm back in VI. So that will allow you to execute a shell command outside of VI.
Are you referring to CLI? That like you can't see anything else, so
Well, no, if I'm in this program, let's say I'm remoting it to a machine.
yes.
I don't have any other windows. You know, I can't open up another window to look at something I need to look at. I have to do it from within VI. So by using that shell command, it'll allow me to jump out, run the command that I want, jump back in, without actually having to leave VI. Okay. Guys, U is undo. So if you hit U, just keep hitting U, it'll go back and undo everything that you've done. Remember when I was talking about paste? And someone said put? That P actually stands for put. But I say paste because people are so, they understand that easier. So let's think, let me think of what else I can show you. What if I just want to save the file? :W. Let's say I want to save it as a new name. :W space. It will save it as a new name. W new name.sh. Here's a good one. How do if I want to overwrite a file, :W bang, new name, and that will force overwrite. W bang, that will be force.
When we did the :W, the first one, did that create a new file?
And if the file existed, it won't allow me, so I have to use the force. Guys, I'm on the E character. What mode am I in? Command mode. So I'm hitting a lowercase x. That deletes one character.
It's not cut?
No. Oh, it is cut. It is cut. I can paste it. Okay, so.
I just remember the word.
Okay, so now I'm in command mode. I'm hitting a lowercase r, then some other character, like a K. Lowercase r replaces one character. Lowercase r replaces one character. So I'm right here in front of this E character. I'm going to hit I, then start typing. What is it doing? It's just inserting those characters. I'm going to go to this line. So that put me in insert mode and just inserted characters. I'm going to do an uppercase R. What's it doing now?
It's replacing.
It's overriding. So just be aware of that, guys. With my keyboard, I'm doing the insert character on my keyboard. It knows that's a insert keyboard. When your keyboard puts you in, like, it's the same as typing I. What happens if you press the insert key on Windows? If I'm on Windows and I press the insert key, what does it do?
That would overwrite.
That would overwrite. Okay, right. So look, if I'm in Notepad, look at my cursor. It's not working in WordPad. But if you ever notice that, like if you want a command prompt, let's try that. Look at my cursor, how it changes. That's overwrite versus insert. Okay, so it's kind of toggles. In Linux, it doesn't do that. It just puts you in insert mode. Okay, last thing for VI. What does this do? :WQ. Or Shift ZZ. Shift ZZ saves and quits.
Is there a difference?
Yes, Shift ZZ is for people who have less time in their hands. Okay. Okay, so I'm just seeing where we are in the book. Okay, so guys, up to chapter 4 on both books is done. No, sorry, chapter 4 in 124 is done. Chapter 3 in the 134 book is done. So 124 book, chapter 4, chapter 3 in 134. Now we're going to start we're going to move on to chapter 5, users and groups. Guys, the way the books are set up, they introduce a topic in one book and then really go in depth in the other. So right now, VI, they just showed you how to edit a file in VI. They talk about the modes in this book. They just show you how to edit a file with VI in this book. But they talk about all the modes in the second book. I don't know why they split it into one. When I first started talking to Red Hat, and I said, do we need 3 classes? They said, no, you only need 2. Merge the second and first class into one. You know, talk about VI from one book, go to the other book, talk about all the things VI can do. So guys, we're going to take a break, our second break, try to keep it like down to 5 minutes. Then the other thing that we're going to do is come back and create user accounts and group accounts. Listen, in the summer semester, I never run this class. The department head threw it on the schedule because she felt there was too many people not getting in the fall and spring. So she wanted me to run this class in the summer. So in the summer it's 12 weeks. We have 2 books we're covering in 12 weeks. It's a lot. Do we want to do a midterm skills test? Or do we want to wait till one at the end? Because if I do a midterm skills test, that means there's going to be 2 test days taken out of the class. So we're down from 12 weeks to 10 weeks. Or do we want to just not do the midterm and just do everything at the end and only have 1 day for the test? That'll give us 11 weeks of instructional time.
Will we have like a review?
Yes, if we do a review, we're down to 8 weeks. So,
Well, no, I mean, like, if we did the test that then.
right, then we'll be down to 10 weeks, which is fine. That's, think about it. We're going to take a break and come back. You can decide.
I just don't want anything cut down for what could, like, I don't want something important to be missed out.
It's a summer semester.
Yeah.
The things I miss will be less than the things you forget. So just keep in mind, there's only so much that I can jam in your head that you absorb. If I jam something in your head and you don't absorb it, why waste your time?
Okay. I don't want to review this and it's like, oh shoot, did we talk about this? Like, was this?
With the review.
Yes,
I think that's the best choice.
that's what they did to for my network.
Yeah.
It's right here. Just look up your cheat sheet and you'll have all that and more.
Okay, guys, I forgot something that's going to be important. I'm going to go back into VI. If I hit a slash, I went back into VI. I just hit the up arrow. If I hit a slash, it brings me to the bottom. Puts me kind of like in extended command mode. Then I type cat, it will find the word cat. This is not find and replace, this is just find. If I hit a lowercase n, that'll find the next occurrence of cat. Okay, if I hit a question mark and find cat, it will search backwards. If I hit a lowercase n, it will find the next occurrence going backwards of cat. Now to confuse you, if I hit a slash, then cat, and hit enter, it will find the next occurrence of cat going forward. If I hit shift n, it will find the next occurrence of cat going backwards. So if you use shift n, if I do this and look for a term, lowercase n does what? Forward. What does uppercase n do?
Backwards.
Question mark, cat. What does forward, lowercase n do?
Back.
Backward switch. What does an uppercase n do? Forward switch. Okay? So it's a little confusing. I just always end up using this. I never deal with this. You get the same results.
I got a question about the error you had. Okay, so you enter the thing and it tells you later in the terminal that you got an error at line such and such. So can you point directly to that and go see what it is you did wrong?
Right, go to VI,
Yeah.
hit 5, and an uppercase G, and it takes you to line 5.
Oh, okay, so you just type the line order. Okay.
Right, it's not going to tell you what you did wrong, it's just going to take you to the line number, and you use your eyes to find out what you did wrong.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm hitting colon Q bang to exit. Okay, so I'm going to cat Etsy password. We're going to start creating user accounts now. First column is the user account name. The second column is the password. Back in the day, they put the password in this file and encrypted it. But it was too easy to break that encryption. Has anyone heard the term rainbow tables?
Yes.
So basically, they've taken any term you could possibly come up with and encrypted it. So if you can look on a rainbow table, look at that encrypted one, and look in here and compare the two encrypted ones, then you'll know the original password. So they've decided that it's best to keep the encrypted passwords in another file called etc. So if you see an X here, that means the password is stored in etc. So etc password doesn't contain the passwords in most modern OSs. They're stored in etc. And I'm going to show you etc too. Anyone can read this file. Only root can read this one. So people can't even see the encrypted password. That was the theory. We'll still use the same encryption method, but we just won't allow people to see them. So, user account name, the password. In this case, it's encrypted, stored in shadow. The next one is the user ID. The next one is their primary group. In Windows, we don't have a concept of primary group. When I look at a file or a folder, like this file right here, users and group text. The user owner, the person who owns this file, is root. The group that owns this file is also called root. So that is a user account name and a group account name. So when I create a new file or folder as root, well, let's say I did it as student. The user owner will be student, and in this case, the group owner is going to be whatever group ID 1000 is, which happens to be called student as well. So every time you create a new file or folder, you will be the user owner of that file or folder, and your primary group will be the group owner. It's called POSIX compliance. We don't have that in Windows. We don't have primary group concept in Windows. But this is going to be the group owner of any file and folder that you create. This will be the user owner of any file and folder that you create. It's important for permissions.
In Windows, they do, like in Active Directory, you do assign users to groups.
You assign them to a group, but when you look at a file, it doesn't indicate who the group owner is.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That group can have permissions to that file, but there's no
specific identification.
right. You can turn it on.
That's where you get the ACLs and stuff like that.
Not really, but you can go in and add that to Windows 2008 and earlier.
Okay.
But in 2012, they removed it.
I see.
Okay, so you had the ability to make it POSIX compliant, and they got rid of it for some reason. Which is kind of funny because they then started working more with Linux.
Right,
Right. Right now, they're going to allow your default shell to be Bash. Windows 10 are coming out with that. So they're integrating Linux more into Windows every day. PowerShell will accept a lot of Linux commands already. So you can install Linux right in Windows just using the Linux subsystem. And they're getting to the point where it will make that subsystem the ability to be your primary shell. So if you don't want to use PowerShell or command, you can use Bash. And all the commands that come along with it, grep, cut, all that, those commands will be there in Windows. I just read that article last week sometime. So user account name, password, primary, my user ID. When I create a new file or folder, that user will be the user owner. My primary group, that would be the group owner. And this next column is my friendly name. So if my user account name is B Ferris, my friendly name, this is the comment field, will be Brian space Ferris. This will be my home directory, and this will be my shell interpreter. By default, I'm going to use bash. But if I'm a corn shell guy, I can use KSH. If I'm a C shell guy, I can use CSH. If I just want to use shell, I can use SH. But by default, bin bash is your command interpreter. So let's create a new user account. User add U1. User 1. And that accepts all the defaults. You don't get to customize that. So let's cat etc password and grep for U1. So that created a user account called U1. I'm going to cat etc shadow and grep for U1. I'll get into what all this means later. But the first column is the user account name. The second column is my password. If I see 2 bangs, my password isn't set. So right now we created a user account. The user cannot sign in because the password isn't set.
And they do that themselves.
Or you give them a temporary password. No, they can't sign in at all. You have to give them a temporary password. Password U1. It's going to ask me for the password twice. And it's not going to show it on the screen. Guys, use our standard password.
It seems too easy. Like, just password and the username, and that's it.
That's it. If you don't put the user account name, you change your own password.
Well, that, like that, you know?
Yeah, and that will work in Mac.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, so now I'm going to, guys, look at this. How can I run the last command that started with cat? Bang C will run the last command that started with cat. Now my password's encrypted.
Wait, what's the purpose of this?
Which is easier to type? This or this? So all I'm doing by doing bang C, I'm saying to run the last command that started with C. So I already ran this command once. So if you want to run it again, just do bang C. Now look, guys, if I wanted to script creating user accounts, I don't want to have to keep typing the password every single time. So I can do echo my password, pass it to the password command, and tell it to get the password from standard in. That also will set the password. So if you have a standard password, you can write this in a script. because we haven't gotten to all how to really create a user account yet, but I'm just passing it in. Guys, if you're on a Unix box, for security reasons, this isn't allowed. So Mac people, you can't pass it in through standard in.
And the standard in and that is representing the keyboard. Or?
No, I'm saying get it from this pipe.
Okay.
You know, because when I echo this and send it over here, it's become standard in.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's a 1, not an L. Look, the L has this little serif at the end going to the right, where the serif at the 1 goes to both directions at the bottom.
All right, from terminal, are you able to are you able to set the rule in like, oh, they gotta refresh every 90 days? Or
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
Got it.
That's what all this is.
Well, I mean, it could be hours.
They decided that we're going to calculate Unix time from January 1st, 1970. I don't know why. Everything is calculated in days from then. So this password has changed 18,062 days from January 1st, 1970. It's called the epoch date. Remember the Y2K bug? You know, some of you that you're probably an infant, but we're going to have that same thing in Linux. Eventually, it's going to be when we go to 100,000 days past January 1st, it's going to break all of our Linux boxes. They've already started correcting it. So eventually, this is going to move up, or they're going to come up with a different time system. So, guys, if you look up on what is epoch time, the Unix epoch, or the Unix time, or POSIX compliant, or Unix timestamp, is the number of, is it the number of seconds? Yeah, but we're doing days. This is the epoch's timestamp. Here's the number of seconds since then. Okay, I don't know why they would go that method, but it is what it is. They didn't consult me.
Okay, but what is epoch itself?
January 1st, 1970.
Is it named after someone, or?
I don't know. It might be. It sounds almost biblical, like the beginning of. Okay, so you can look it up. I don't know what it means. I'm not going in there. I'm not going there. I don't care. Okay, so cat, Etsy, password, Etsy shadow, Etsy group, and Etsy G shadow. And grep4 U1. So when we created that new user account, it edited those 4 files. This is where my user account information is stored. This is where my password and additional user information is stored. This is where my group account was stored. So when I created a user account called U1, it created a group account at the same time called U1. So this is where my group information is stored. this is where my group password, which is maintained by the system, and some other stuff is stored. User account information and password, group information, some more group information, and my group password is stored there. So every time I create a new user account, it has those 4 files. And I'm going to get into shadow group and all that, but for right now I'm just sticking to Etsy password. So I'm going to type username without any, user add without any stuff. So I'm going to do the -C. So user add -C user to U2. If you want to set the password, users cannot sign in until you set the password. I'm going to cat Etsy password grep for U2. By using that -C, I populated this field, the comment field, or the friendly name. Like my user account name is U2, or like it would be B Ferris, my friendly name would be Brian Ferris. So when you sign in graphically, you know, on your desktop it'll say Brian Ferris's documents and stuff like that.
So when you see
Thank you.
G-Coast, that's basically common friendly name.
I'm sorry?
When you see that G-Coast, G-E-C-O-S, that's
Yes.
a common friendly name? Okay.
I believe that's an acronym, but I can't remember what it's for.
Okay.
Guys, make that directory. I'll explain what it's for in a moment. Home directory is a default location for all user accounts' home directories, or user profiles. Except for root. Root is always under /root. So I'm going to do user add I'm not going to stay much longer. Oh, listen. Oh, before you go, Jesse, here's what I was thinking. For the test, how about if I gave you a take-home test, no review, but give you 2 weeks to do it. I'll give you a sheet of paper with a bunch of tasks I need you to do. Cut, grep, things like that. Like 10 tasks I need you to do. And you write down the commands to accomplish those tasks. But it'd be take home, but then I'll force you to research.
Seems fair.
Yeah,
Okay, so if I only have the one test, all your grades are dependent on one test.
Right.
So this way I can kind of divvy up the grades.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Next class, we're going to meet. I'll give you a take-home test, and you'll have to give the commands. Guys, you're only cheating yourself if you just get someone else's work. You know,
Yeah.
why? If you want to pay for a class and let them learn and you not, that's fine. Just buy them lunch too. Okay? Okay, I'll see you, Jesse. Be prepared for that.
Absolutely.
That's very good.
Okay, so I'm going to do user add -D home my domain U2 sorry, this is going to be for U3 / -C user 3 U3. So I'm going to cat Etsy password and grep for U3. So -C fills in the comment field. -D says where the home directory is going to be stored. This has to exist. All the subfolders have to exist. I'm just only creating this last folder here. But not only did it create my user as a user password, it actually went to that folder and created that folder for the user account name at the same time. So -D defines where they're going to save their home directory. We don't really use the term folder in Linux. -C defines the comment field. So let's do another one. User add -D. I could do -C first. It doesn't really matter. User 4 Do you want me to wait, Ashley? Oh, because we're almost done. I'm just going to wait for you.
I just have to use the
Okay.
restaurant.
I'm going to just wait. Guys, after this last thing, we're going to stop because we're nowhere near finishing user accounts. This is a huge topic. You can hit enter, grep for U4, and you can kind of figure out what I did here. C is for the comment field, D is for the home directory where I'm going to store it, and S is the interpreter that user will use. So the only thing we added was the .sh. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to set the password. Etsy, nope. Password, standard in, U4. Guys, if I ask you from root to another user account, I'm not prompted for the password. So I'm going to sign in as U4. Now I run shell. I don't run bash. Echo $, shell. I'm using shell, not bash. Set the password, sign in as U4. Incidentally, even as root, if they don't have their password set, you can still sign in. Root can always sign in even, because it doesn't prompt me for a password. If a Unix admin asks for your password, either is incompetent or is up to no good. You know, because he doesn't need your password ever. If he wants to sign in as you, he just can sign in without your password. I'm going to type exit to sign out of U4 back to root and do cat etc password grep for U4. So I can see that this is my friendly name. This is my home directory. I have to put in U4 at the end. And the last thing we did was the -s set the shell that user prefers. Okay.
So a root user can log into a regular user without the need of a password?
Correct. Root is God mode.
Got it.
Can do anything he wants. Can't block. You can specifically prevent root from doing something, and root can still do it. Root cannot be blocked. Okay, so guys, that's where we're going to end today. I will see you next week. We're going to continue with user accounts. We're on chapter 5 in the first book, 124. We've done up to chapter 4.
We finished 120.
No, we've done chapter 3 in 134.
Yeah.
We're on chapter 5 in 124. Okay. I'm going to upload this video